Well, hey everyone, welcome to another casual garden stroll. We're gonna do something a little bit different today because hopefully you got a chance to at least see that it was posted, if not actually see it. We did a massive garden stroll. I say we a lot collectively because I do think of this as sort of a team effort here between at least Mr. Much More Patient and I, but a lot of times that comes across so strange, and I said it throughout that video as I was editing it. I was getting a little cringy because I kept saying we did this and we did that, and mostly I did it. You guys get the idea. But it's almost 90 minutes long. It's by far the longest video I've ever made or posted, but it has been over a year since I've done a proper garden tour. So I really wanted to go over everything really thoroughly. If you haven't watched that video yet, it will be the one right before this one, if you're looking chronologically. There are timestamps in the description, so if you think I'm going on way too much about a certain part of the garden, you can just skip around to the parts of the garden you like. I did try to really hit on sort of, in some cases, design philosophy and specific plants, things like that. So you've seen the garden, and honestly, it hasn't changed a lot since I filmed that. So what I thought today was, first of all, I'm holding this because this is the time of year when there is a lot of deadheading to do. Deadheading is one of my favorite, like, little garden jobs to do because you can kind of nip it off, literally, here and there as you have time. And you can usually do it one-handed with a beverage in the other hand if you need to. And it's just kind of a really good opportunity, I feel like, to get into the garden. So I thought what I'd do is we just sort of walk around, kind of keep this video focused on flowers. And while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna do a little bit of deadheading along the way. And maybe some other pruning. This is the time of year when some things look a little tired, and it's not too late to rejuvenate things. And for the things that are going, I want to really keep them going and keep them looking good by deadheading. So that is what we're going to do in today's casual garden stroll. Come along. All right, I'm starting right up here in the front bed by some dahlias. This is Crichton Honey. Let me show you this one. So, by the way, when you're deadheading dahlias, you've got some options in terms of where you deadhead them. Cutting lower will get the next flowers to have longer stems. So if you get frustrated because your dahlias don't have long stems and you'd like them for cutting, one of the things you can do is cut quite low when you're deadheading, which will push up flowers on longer stems. What you don't want to do is this. Don't cut right above the stem. Look at how, this is a flower that, well, we had a lot of rain, but there's cucumber beetles in there, which are a problem. I've been using some neem, which I think is helping a little, but cucumber beetles are tough. The alternative is that you can bag them, but you guys, I grow these to look at in my garden, not necessarily for cutting, so I'm not gonna live with a garden full of organza bags. So what you want to do at the very least is cut down to where the stem that flower is on meets something. So that sometimes means you have to go quite down far in there. So it's not unusual that you would get a stem like that. By the way, when I'm doing like a big deadheading, this is not supposed to be like a deadheading tutorial, but it kind of is turning into that. I deadhead anything that's kind of going over because it's going to be a couple of days before I get back to it again. So I want to get rid of anything that's bad. But let me do, okay, here, let me hold you in here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so if we look at this flower right here and we try to follow this down, this goes, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard to show you. Let's pull off some leaves so that I can actually kind of show you what's happening in here. Okay, so this stem right here goes to right here. It's only like a 6-inch stem probably. Now that is attached to this flower right here, which is just starting, so I wouldn't want to cut that flower off because I don't want to sacrifice that. So I will go to right where this stem meets back into whatever is next. So, well, that wasn't where that flower went to. Okay, let's go. Oh yeah, okay, so it goes sort of, there's there's sort of a V here, and this goes down to the center. So this was, 3 branches, and this is what was the center flower. So let me grab so it goes all the way down into here. So I'm going to cut all the way down into that because we'll get some new growth growing on here. Then I go through all of these. What is that? Nothing. I'm seeing bugs where there aren't bugs, even though there are plenty of bugs. All right, let me just clean this plant up really quick here. Sometimes I will sacrifice a bud if it's gonna, if it's the right thing to do. And certainly flower farmers sacrifice buds all the time because they need really good quality flowers. There. I mean, that pretty much cleans up that plant. And you know what? It looks better without that stuff in there. Creighton honey does pump out the flowers, but the faster they pump out the flowers, the more deadheading you need to be ready to do. I mean, these flowers are obviously spent, but look at how pretty the colors are in there. This is Lakeview Peach Fuzz. Okay, this is a good example where I'm going to sacrifice something. If you look here, this stem, am I pointing the camera at this? Yes. There's one here, and there is another bud. Hello, way to go, Erin. There is another bud right there, but instead, I'm going to sacrifice that little bud. I'm going to take it all the way down to here because that will just make this a better looking and get us a longer stem than that other little flower would have had. This is a new dahlia for me this year. This is Holly Hill Pinky. I really wanted a different Holly Hill variety. I can't remember which one. But I couldn't get it, but I thought, I'll get this one. It looks kind of, and I think it's beautiful. I really like it a lot. Very, very, I don't know, I like that there's a name for that style of type of dahlia, but I couldn't tell you what it is right this moment. While I'm standing here, I just want to show you all the insects on the Agastache Blue Fortune. We've got bees just like everywhere, all over it, but also we've got some little moths on it. My gosh, it's just pretty amazing for one plant how many bugs are all over this right now. Not so much that one, Japanese beetle right there, but I feel like they're starting to be done with, but anyway, that's a great plant. That one is Blue Fortune. I have not had luck with other Agastaches. If you watch the video I did with Danielle Sherry from Fine Gardening Magazine, or actually all the magazines now, she mentioned that Richard Hockey at the Chicago Botanic Garden is working on an Agastache trial, and I am looking forward to that because I would love to get some more Agastaches in. All right, let's make our way this way, and we'll look at some more. Actually, no, we're gonna go this way first. We have very few dahlias blooming in this area. I'm so disappointed. They're so late. I mean, this should be just full. I mean, right now it looks not so much color because there isn't much because I kept it intentionally a little bland so that all the dahlias could be the star. And I mean, this guy right here, well, first of all, I don't know why he's being limp today, but this is Buttercup, and this whole thing, I don't know what's happening here. There is a chance that he might be getting too much water because the drip irrigation from the window box, which runs once a day, does kind of drip down in that area. I don't think it's too much water. I do see a labyrinth hiding back here. We'll have to do a little bit of, but this is all a little droopy here. That's strange. That shouldn't be happening. There's drip irrigation in this area. These guys, I gotta find the label, you guys. It was a sample plant, and it's such a good dahlia. But this is Pam Howden. This is one I got last year. And the center's kind of shot on this one, but it's this beautiful water lily form. Really nice. This guy needs to be staked up a little bit more. Also, I planted a purple hyacinth bean at the base of this rose. And I never see it, and then all of a sudden here it is, like growing up the trellis, and it's glommed onto the glommed on. It's twined itself onto the post there because it desperately wants to be there. I'm just watching all the wasps. We have so many things living in our soffits and our roof. It's unbelievable. This is Hamari Gold. This one is a little bit tattered by bugs, but this is a really pretty one, I think. Again, Sender's shot on it there, but the new ones are pretty. And this one is this, I call it neon pink. I don't know what it was. I think I mentioned this one in the garden tour even. It came as part of a Proven Winners. Proven Winners started doing these like bulb packs last year. And so they sent me, and it was like there were some callas in it. It was a mixture of a bunch of things. And this dahlia was in it, but I don't recall that the dahlia was ever named. And it's really beautiful. It's got these kind of white tips on it, and I've got it all through here. And actually, it's pretty tall. It's a pretty tall one. This one is not staked yet, which is shocking that it hasn't tipped over. But this is, this is chest high for me almost. So it's kind of nice to have a dahlia right up close and personal. And you can see that I planted a bunch of them back in here. That's one I saved. We're just skipping. I've talked to you about deadheading. We're skipping that part of this video now. My zinnias are finally starting to bloom. These are all supposed to be the Queenie series. However, I bought these as plugs from Farmer Bailey, and they now have, Farmer Bailey you can buy from, but now they have another arm of their company where you can buy like smaller quantities of plugs, which is nice because you have to buy like 200 at one time otherwise. But they did mention it wasn't necessarily going to be straight. Well, there's an awful lot of oranges popping up in here. It's okay. This is creme de cassis. Oh, this is great. This is Thomas Edison. That's our first bloom of Thomas Edison in there. So you know what I might do is actually prune out some of these side branches so that we can actually see the flowers a little bit better, possibly. And that's a really big dahlia. So it is staked, but I don't know if you can tell it's leaning a little bit. So I'll come in, and you have to kind of, when you stake something, it's not a one and done in my experience. It's, you have to keep returning to it. Here is, look at this, super late blooming poppy. It's a nice little surprise. What else is blooming that was looking really pretty? I did just want to, hit some of those. In some cases, the allium millenniums are looking really, really good. And this is one of those cases. Some places, in some parts of the house, they seem like they're done. By the way, my Verbena bonariensis is finally coming up in here. God, everything just took forever this year. But I think allium millennium is so pretty. This is June hosta. In general, I don't love hosta flowers, and I will come in and prune those out because it's just not my thing. Right here, I've got some caladiums. You guys are finally getting going. I've been kind of complaining about them a little bit. But these are, I got sent these really quite late, and so I just stuck the bulbs straight in the ground. And they need a lot of heat to get going, and they look good here, I think. I think this is lemon blush, maybe. Also, I do love this papyrus grass right here, Queen Tut. There's some more caladiums popping up over here too. The whole area was everywhere you see empty soil, there were caladiums planted there. So whether we see more or not, I don't know. But this is another spot where the Millennium alliums are looking really, really good. I've been looking at this spot a lot out the bathroom window, which is right behind me here. So I study this a lot, and what I'm noticing, and like what I'm going to make my mental note for next year, or physical note probably, is that I need to, these alliums are sort of just at the edge, so I need to kind of start working these alliums back farther into this bed. And the same thing for the echinacea. We got this really beautiful clump, but this would be so much prettier if this were actually going deeper into the bed a little bit. Some of the phlox have had a chance to bloom now. I've been telling you that the deer really go nuts for the deer. The one thing that seems to be, use your words. I use a lot of deer repellent, and it works for most everything. It does not seem to work for phlox. The deer are just hell-bent on eating the phlox. It seems to be, in my garden anyway, like their favorite thing. Pretty Parasols is the name of this echinacea. I keep naming it the wrong thing. I love it. I really love it. Unfortunately, I planted about 20 of these a few years ago, and all I have left are 2 or 3 that are in this area. So I don't know if it's one of those ones that was just in a bad spot. I don't know, but I think it's worth trying to grow more of them. I think one of the parents of this must be Echinacea pallida, which I mentioned in my tour that like one of my favorite, or maybe my favorite echinacea, because they have this kind of skinnier petal that kind of hangs down, which is what pallida looks like. Anyway, I'm a fan. Also, big fan of that one too. That's The Price is White, and it has come back for me repeatedly, which is good. Sometimes, you know, echinaceas are a little iffy on that. You saw all this area before. We are starting to get some more dahlias coming in here. If you look right there, that's Cornell, regular Cornell, straight Cornell. And then here is, really? I mean, no wonder they all look like garbage. Cornell bronze here. Beautiful balls when they're not being attacked by something. I've got some more things kind of popping up here in the hot border, which makes this hot border a little hotter. I do love this Heliopsis bleeding hearts that I added in this year. I did add some in the back. I thought they'd be taller than the monk's hood, but they're not, which is a bit of a bummer. And this is Helenium. I believe this is Mariachi Salsa here. I like Heleniums a lot. This is a dahlia I grew from seed, and I see it's an All-America Selection winner. The first flower is getting ready to come. So silly. So silly that here we are in mid-August and I'm still waiting for the first flowers to come. More Millennium alliums here. Looking really good, by the way. At least in my humble opinion. We're looking for flowers. Let's go find some more flowers on this random, not really garden stroll. Well, have we talked about the Didicus? I'm not sure if we have. So this is Cosmos Apricot Lemonade. I feel like when I've grown them in the past, the flowers have been bigger. So I don't know if I just planted everything too close here, or they just got a late start, or if that's really what they are. But between that, I'm growing this Didicus, which is really meant to be a cut flower. But I'm kind of fascinated by this flower. I have been cutting some, but I think it's really pretty. It's this flat, I thought they were going to be much bigger. Again, maybe they're supposed to be, but they aren't anywhere they're growing in my garden. This flat kind of sky blue, umbellifer type flower, kind of lacy, sort of Queen Anne's lace looking. Really liking that a lot. I think I'll grow that again. Maybe not in as many quantities, but that was pretty nice. The Arabella clematis is such a good clematis. And this is a new one that I planted here in this garden. I have one in the other garden too, but it just has really beautiful flowers. I like to let it scramble through beds, and it looks great. This, I think, is quackgrass, and it's all over the place right now. But easy to pull. Oh, I planted Mojito Nicotiana in this garden to help bring that chartreuse color throughout the whole garden. This is it right here. It looks a little rough because it did get a fair amount of rain yesterday, and there's a branch laying on it, so that would explain it. But it's nice. I think it's a pretty good one. It's got pretty good color on it, standing up pretty well too. And then we'll just take a look here at Baby Joe. This is, Eutrochium is the new name for Joe Pyeweed. Joe Pyeweed used to be Eupatorium. Now it's reclassified, and it's now Eutrochium. I think that's how you pronounce it. The flowers are quite big, but I'm going to say it's 4 feet tall. I thought it was going to be a little shorter than that. I thought it was supposed to be like 36. It's 4 feet tall. It's still beautiful. It actually works really well in this spot, so it's quite pretty. And a nice one to consider if you don't have room for like big Joe Pye weed, which is like 10 feet tall. All right, let's stroll down here. Oh, I see we need some staking with the star frost echinops here. But here's finally we've got some dahlias blooming down here. HS date is down here. There's a bunch of them planted in here. I also see some need some weeding. Oh, and look, Silphium. I always say terabithium. It's like terabitnaceum. It's really long, and I'm missing about half of the word when I say it that way. I think it's because I keep thinking bridge to terabithia. Anyway, it's blooming. I will, kind of pretty. I'm not growing it for that. I'm growing it for the big leaves. I will keep an eye on those. I probably won't let those go to seed. I don't want them to get kind of out of hand because they can reseed somewhat prolifically here. The blue flame phlox has started to make a bit of a comeback here after the deer nipped it all off right before the photo shoots. That was nice of them. And more of the Montrose White, Calamintha Montrose White is blooming. I love this plant in mass because it just makes this really beautiful cloud. Now, for years I've had bottle gentian planted through this, and bottle gentian with this plant is so beautiful. Unfortunately, I cannot get it to come back. If there's one left in here, I'd be surprised. But blues work really good with that. I think echinacea looks really good with this plant. I do have a dahlia stuck in the middle of it, which is not blooming yet. But I think, I really like the idea of planting calamintha in a big cloud with something kind of growing up through it. That's always a pretty look if I could just make it work. And then what else are we gonna look at? What else is there, guys? Well, Liatris, which is very pretty. And gosh, there's a lot of bees out today. It's pollinator city today. Interestingly enough, this phlox never gets touched by the deer. I don't know if it's location. I don't know if this phlox is something special, but it's nice that there's one that they don't actually eat. I think we've talked about this Nicotiana before, which is flopping. We got a bunch more rain again, so we've been good on rain. I'm not complaining here. To be clear, areas of Milwaukee were destroyed, flooded, terrible, awful flooding. We were lucky and did not get that. We got 7 inches of rain, but we did not get massive flooding from it. Castor beans are finally growing. Look at those. Oh, and I see, if you look over here, do you see the yellow? That is the ligularia flowering. I need to go in there and get those flowers off because I love the ligularia, but they're going to get out of control if they all go to seed. Here are some dahlias that actually are doing well. This is First Date. So this is, First Kiss. First Kiss. This is part of that HS series, so HS Date is part of this series. These are really, these go through flowers quickly. So let's just, since we did start by talking about deadheading, I'll just talk to you a little bit about how you know what needs to be deadheaded and what doesn't. So this flower obviously is spent. You can probably tell that. This is also spent, and the way you can tell that is because, can you see how it's sort of pointy as opposed to this one below it, which is round? Round ones are going to be new flowers. Pointy ones are spent flowers. Now, if you're going to collect seed or something, you're looking for that, right? But if you're not collecting seed or doing that with it and you want to keep it blooming, this is what you want to deadhead, and you want to take it all the way down to essentially the crotch, basically, where it's meeting something else. Here on this one, I would cut, since this one is obviously half done, I would cut it all the way back to down here. So that's the deadheading thing, and that's HS First Kiss, First Love, First Kiss, First Something. Oh, and one last thing we'll do before we finish this off. We'll just do a check-in here on Mangave Bad Hair Day flower spike growing, I think it's 4 inches a day, probably. It's conservatively, if we start like where it starts down here, I'm going to say I would say it's 3 feet tall now. It's the size of a yardstick now. It does look to me like maybe we're getting close to a flower actually happening. I don't know what this flower is going to look like. I'm going to guess it's going to be something yellow. But we're going to let it flower and see what it looks like. It's probably donezo for the plant after that. I will have, sometimes they produce pups and I can look for those. But, you know, we'll see what happens with it. All right, I'm actually noticing a lot of stuff that needs water, containers mostly. So I'm gonna go get that pie in the oven because I think the crust is cool enough now. And then I'm gonna go around and water some stuff and have a good day in my garden. And I hope you do the same. Thanks for watching, guys. This was kind of a weird one, but I like checking in with you on Sundays when I'm able to. Have a good week. We'll see you soon. Oh, by the way, and go check out the tour video at some point when you have some time or when you feel like jumping around to the various bits on it. I hope you enjoy it. I got a lot of really wonderful comments on it. I so appreciate it. It was fun to show you guys the garden in whole for once. So check that out. Have a great day in your garden. Go water your plants. Bye, everybody.